like to call this meeting to order. It's a regular meeting, so first we're gonna do the pledge of allegiance. The pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First is, I'd like to keep the comments down to 2 minutes apiece, please, if you would. And Casey, also known as Catherine, wants an introduction of who is gonna be speaking. When you speak, please come up and state your name. And Catherine, do you know the board members that are gonna be speaking? Doesn't. Okay. So we have to do the same thing.
Okay.
So first is public, or number 2 is public comment. Is there anybody who would like to make a public comment of sorts? Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Tom Pajoli.
Come up and talk close to the mic so she can hear you. It's that little round thing.
That's good.
Good.
Tom Pajoli, Birch Mountain Road. I'm here to talk about the right to farm ordinance. If the Board of Selectmen would consider adopting that ordinance to this town. I do have pamphlets here to hand out to everyone. You guys want to just take one and pass it down? And here. So what I do know about it, it's a set of state laws that, well, you guys probably know more about it than I do, but that will protect farmers for nuisance laws. And it would alleviate a lot of lawsuits to farmers. It makes it a better farming community and a more sustainable future for farmers. Some towns in Connecticut have already adopted it. I think there's about maybe 12 or 14 towns in Connecticut that have adopted it. I think the last one was Columbia that did it. And it's a simple procedure, but it just sort of states, hey, we are a farming community. And it doesn't push farmers aside as far as new people come into town and not liking what they see. So I figured I present it, let you guys review it. And go from there, I guess.
Thank you.
They do talk a lot about it. Other states, every state has it in the United States. Mass is pretty active state about it as well.
Okay.
And I think when you do adopt the ordinance, signs are posted in the town stating and showing the public this is a right to farm town. So I think I covered what I wanted to say.
Thank you. I think you got it. Yeah, I appreciate that. Is there any other public comment? Yes,
sir. Is here okay?
Yeah.
Excellent. Dr. James Perkins, 15 Laurelwood Drive in Bolton. First off, good evening. I want to speak to you about bike lane widths. So I'm here representing Bike Walk Bolton, and just again provide awareness of the lane widths in here in town and some of the benefits of improving. My son would love to bike across Bolton. However, some of the curtain shoulders here in town do not allow for safe passage. So I'm asking you to consider, where applicable in town, to reduce lane widths to help reduce speeds on Bolton streets, making Bolton and cycling safer. To support this, if you go to the Department of Transportation, lane widths can be reduced to 9, 10, or even 11 feet with the excess asphalt striped with a bicycle lane or paved shoulders. An example, lane widths here in Bolton, Route 44 as an example, range from 12 to 18 feet with speed limits of 40 to 45 miles an hour. So you can imagine quite fast, not very safe. And so if we reduce the road lane width to 11 feet, it would help reduce speeds, improve safety for all cars, pedestrians, and cyclists. And so I asked for future lane markings to reduce lane widths where possible to create that 11 feet safety barrier. And so why is reducing lane widths a good thing? According to a Johns Hopkins study, reducing lane widths to 11 feet or less reduces car speeds, reduces crashes, and improves overall safety. This leads to having a plan. So in 2023, if you go to the Bike Walk Connecticut site, it was surveyed in town or towns across, was asked for their bike and pedestrian master plans along with complete street plans and policies. While Bolton is not listed, our neighbor next to us, Andover, does have extensive plans. That includes adding shared use markings, which is one way we can ensure safe usage for the road. I would encourage following our friends in Andover to develop a master plan that will help provide a roadmap to build a safer community for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, anybody? Okay. Yeah.
I am Sylvia, 1 Crew Bike Walk Bolton and 48 Stonehenge Lane. I want to say a big thank you to the town of Bolton for adding the dog waste station at Steele's Crossing and the new paint on the road at the crosswalk saying pedestrian crossing. It is really visible. And it was posted on Facebook by Barbara just yesterday. And we have over 100 hits of people from the town of Bolton and comments, all positive, saying that they're really appreciative. So I just wanted to say thank you to the town for doing that and hopefully improving. It will improve the safety for trail users who, with motorists that are coming down that street really too fast. So thank you very much.
The little things that count.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
Bryce Aronson, 149 Brandy Street. I just wanted to follow up and
say thank you to Jim and Rodney from our meeting that we had in July.
Yeah.
On the quick follow-up on getting that painted, so
Thank you.
Sales process, yes.
Very good. Next,
Hi,
yes. Hi.
Ellie King, 149 Brandy Street. I just wanted to echo what Jim was talking about with the lane widths. I walk the baby with a stroller. Cars go speeding by. There's not a lot of room and a lot of shoulders. So anything we can do to get cars to slow down and make it a little safer for pedestrians would be great.
Very good. Thank you. There's only 4 left.
Richard Street, 8 Lyman Road. I would just like to say, I hope the town will consider the right to farm ordinance. Farming in some ways doesn't fit with a more modern world. But it's part of our heritage. And if you recollect the studies that we have done, everyone who responds about what is important to them to Bolton talk about preserving rural heritage. So in that regard, I hope you'll consider it. Equipment in the road is part of farming. Slow equipment, sometimes smelly equipment, sometimes newer. But that's part of it, and I think that's part of a rural place, and I think our people who live here want this to be a rural place. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Street. Go ahead, Mr. Anderson.
Well, William Anderson, 77 French Road. In the interest of brevity, I support the right to farm, and I support what Dick has said, and Bike Walk Bolton does a great job, and I support what they say as well. I didn't come prepared. I've been with the election all day. Is the driveway ordinance on the agenda? Can I talk about that or no? I can. Okay. The driveway ordinance, if you could get that over to the zoning department and zoning only, because if you don't do that, you're robbing the citizens of using the zoning board of appeals. So please take the drive. There's nothing in a driveway. It's all math. It's all sightline, distance, width, drainage under the road, pitch of the asphalt. There's nothing in there that's subjective. It's all math and geometry. Get it on the zoning regs. That way, if there's an issue and a zoning officer denies a driveway permit, the applicant can go right to zoning board of appeals, and so can the person who's contesting it. That's the way the system's supposed to work. That would be my advice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else? Very good. Thank you, everybody, for the input. So number 3 is to consider an act on state land up for auction.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
if I may,
Bob Moore.
I met with Mr. England a couple of weeks ago. He came to my office and discussing that parcel of land that he felt was critical for him, and he wanted to purchase it. And he, excuse me, get my voice in. The asking price is $160,000, which we felt was a bit absurd for a piece of property that has no effective frontage. There's no access to that property other than through his property.
Bob, excuse me, why don't you describe so that the public
Oh.
can hear what we're talking about?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
This, if you're familiar with England's Hardware, if you've ever been there, and if you ever gone and filled up a propane tank, you drive back, and there's that big paved area. That's state-owned, and it has been leased to England's for decades. And the state finally figured out that that piece of land is useless to them, and they want to dispose of it. They contacted him, and he is quite anxious to purchase it. It's a matter of what is a fair market value, and go from there. That's
The town is also in a butter, so they contacted the
Right.
town as well.
right. They contact the abutters first on any of those. And without that piece of land, he loses his entire parking area in the rear of that building. There's virtually, other than an area to pass a vehicle through, that's all gone. And that's a significant portion of, if you notice, vehicles are stored there and of the businesses in that little plaza. So frankly, I feel that we should support him in this. It's part of us, how do you keep business in town? You support business in town. And I think this is a critical purchase for him. There's no question about it. And, so my thought would be to have the board contacted him, that we would be happy to work with you in acquiring that property. That's my feeling.
Gwen.
Well,
Mary.
I think that what's before us is an offer from the state to the town of Bolton
Right.
to purchase this property.
Right.
So I think that we need to address that offer and not, when, the supporting, us, if we decide not to buy it.
Right.
That in a way is supporting the
Right.
owner, but we should not be
No,
responding to the state and saying we're
No.
supporting the owner purchasing
I
it.
concur.
So let's,
once we've made a decision. we're
well,
not
that's
gonna buy
right. So I think that what we first have to do is talk about whether the town is interested in buying this
Right.
piece of
Yeah.
property. That's question number 1, because that's the question to us.
it. Right.
And then the fact that there's other interested party should work into that conversation.
Yeah.
So, I thought about this, and, my first thought, I tried to think about whether the town would have any need or desire to have this, to own this piece of property, and the only possible reason I would see that the town might want it is because for access to the Nathan Hale pathway that's going to be put in. But I have been back there, I've walked down that hill. It's not a very nice way to access that path. It's a steep hill, there's a kind of a, not a very appealing runoff at the bottom, and then you have to either go straight up the hill or you have to go skirt around the bottom of the hill. So I don't think that it's a good place to use for access to that trail. I also think that at some point, that whole intersection is gonna be redesigned, the whole 644 intersection, and it could be that if the town buys this property, the state might come back and say, oh, sorry, we need it back for reconstructing this intersection. And $160,000 to buy, a parking lot is not, I just don't think it's of
No.
value to,
No access.
with no access, right? So I would not support the town purchasing that property.
Very good. Is there any other comments on this?
When I support your position, and I was just one step
Yeah.
ahead of you
Yep.
on that, but
Yes.
thank you for bringing that up.
Mhm.
So
I'll make a motion.
I had,
Oh, you drafted one?
no,
Oh, you have a comment?
no, but I had mentioned to Jim that maybe we should just put in a bid offer of $100 or something. Just put the offer in, so we did our due diligence with the state. And they're gonna get his offer of whatever it is, we don't care.
I think reading this, that the town has the, oh, I see. Well, I think that we should just respond, the town is not interested.
Not interested. Because
You have an obligation.
Yeah,
we can't utilize this piece. And Glenn makes, unless you walk back there, you really don't understand the difficulty of traversing that area.
No, I don't want it either.
Right. So,
But
thank
what-
you, but you simply state that we feel it's important to our businesses in town that go to the budding property owners, or whatever you wanna say, or simply, no, thank you. It's,
Yep.
for that money, we can buy a tremendous amount of open space land. I mean, let's.
I just think that the response should be,
No, thank you.
yeah, no, thank
No,
you.
thank you.
We're declining your
We're
offer
fine. Yeah.
to acquire this
Yeah.
property.
Amanda Gordon,
Can I ask, what it means that we are, any bids are subject to the municipality's right of first refusal? Meaning if we wanted to purchase it, we have the first right to, or we get to refuse other bids that come in if we don't like them?
So I think what it means is that, and I did not check with the town attorney, so I want to qualify the statement. I think what it means is that after the bids come in, we have the ability to purchase it from the state for the highest bid that they receive.
Oh.
That would be the right of first refusal.
Thank you.
okay, so Amanda was gonna make a motion.
Yeah, I was just gonna make a motion that we respond to the Department of Transportation indicating that we as a town of Bolton, the Board of Selectmen, are not interested in purchasing the plot as outlined in the map provided.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. So
Aye.
that's, Mather Clark says aye.
Yeah,
That's
can you guys
five.
hear me, by the way?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, we are.
Okay.
That's 5 yes and 2 absent, Pam Sawyer and Tim Sadler. Next is the consider an act on changing the accounts payable date on or time, date or time for December 31st, 2024. Change it to December 30th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. So.
December 30th? Actually, no, December 30th.
Well, we're into the 2025 calendar year.
No, that's for this
The
year.
Board of Selectmen meeting dates, it's on the, there you go.
So is that bad for you? Because it's a work day.
Work day.
And we were doing that because it was scheduled for the 31st.
No, it was scheduled for the 30th. We moved it from the 31st because it was New Year's Eve to
Right.
the 30th, which is the day before at 6 p.m.
How did it end up at 8:30 a.m.
the following day.
December
I
30th?
mean, I know Jill had concerns that the 30th would be tight for her in terms of getting things ready, but I don't know that, you know, going from 6 o'clock one night to 8:30 in the morning allowed for additional work time to prepare anything, so.
Oh, because it's a Monday. Was there other things?
If she doesn't have it to us on Friday, well, we have to post the agenda. We don't necessarily have to post the information.
I mean, we're not obligated to post the information at all,
On the accounts payable.
legally, I don't think.
No.
We do,
I think just the agenda.
yeah.
Just
Just the
the,
agenda.
So I think we should keep it at 6 o'clock for
was
those.
that a misprint? The 8:30 thing? It should have been
That was-
6 o'clock.
That was, Kathy brought this up to us last week.
Yeah, she's still here.
She is.
The meeting on the 30th. It says 8:30 on the agenda and 6 o'clock on the list. Which is correct.
And it's a different day.
And
Right. Oh, no, it says the 30th, I like.
What, the third, both of the 30th?
That's what it started.
That's what it started with.
Yeah.
We wanted to push it back to 8:30 AM the day before.
Okay, so this is.
But we
already
had,
had
Instead of
the date.
6 P.M.?
we had already discussed the 30th at 6 o'clock,
Yeah,
not 8:30.
No, I don't have.
Well, it
So
says
you didn't get that. Okay,
December 30th, 6 P.M.
we just wanna make sure there wasn't a particular reason for not having it at that.
No, we can do 6 PM on the 30th.
Okay.
That's fine.
That's good.
Thank you. Okay, so. We're gonna. So we don't have to change anything? Cause it's already been changed from the 31st? Oh,
Yep.
no,
Yeah, it's been changed on 31st and 6 P.M. is the time.
yeah, well, we have to change it from the 31st to the 30th.
no, we
right?
already,
It was already done? Okay. All right, scratch that one. Except it's gonna be at 6:30 as stated on our
6
calendar.
PM.
6
Versus 8:30 as shown on the minutes,
6 PM.
6 P M. Oh, I'd love to have.
I know,
it
you've been
6
up till 5:30 in the morning, so we're good.
I would be there at 6 AM.
Okay, consider an act on approving the 2025 meeting dates. So a lot of these, we have regular and AP meetings, and it's not the usual first Tuesday of the month. Because we would end up with 3 meetings a month for a lot of these months.
We were starting out with like 34 meetings.
Yes, Amanda.
so I'm against having the meetings rotate days during the month. I understand the AP issue, but we haven't been doing 3 meetings this year in a month. We've been doing the 2 and we've made it work. And I think that we need to work with the finance department, as discussed last year, to build in efficiencies with getting them the invoices from other departments so that she has enough time to prep and get things done in a timely manner. I really think we need to have a standard meeting time for our regular meetings so that it's reliable and dependable for the public who may decide to come. Switching from the first Tuesday to the second Tuesday is not, I wouldn't consider that a best practice in terms of being transparent and open with the public. I'm also, for the record, against moving our regular meeting to 6 o'clock PM. For those of us who work, it can be really challenging to hear that early.
Any other comments?
I guess I'm failing to understand the reason for suggesting the change.
So if we had a meeting on the regular Monday, Tuesday in January, that would be the 7th. And then we would have a meeting on the 14th. And
we
on the
didn't do that.
28th.
We didn't do that this year, though.
We
So
haven't.
why? We have not been having 3 meetings in a month.
In January, like he's suggesting, you wouldn't have a choice. If you kept your regular meeting date, the meeting date, you have to have the other 2 for AP.
Why? Is there a certain day of the month that she processes checks? Like, I'm trying to understand the
Because
actual
it's every
SOPs.
2 weeks.
Why? I mean, I'm just trying to get at the meat
Because-
and potatoes
because-
of why the SOPs are the way
Because
they are.
they're doing payroll the other 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because
She's
we're on
doing the accounts payable on off weeks from
from payroll.
payroll.
Right.
And
And the school payroll plays into this as well, and the school AP plays into this as well. It's not just as simple as the town finance department, because we're all using the same system.
Okay, so say 1 month we didn't have APs on that second week and we
We-
put all the APs into that other week.
Because of the process that we use, having public meetings for the AP instead of what they used to do back when Gwen was on the board years ago, which was review the AP meeting and sign off on it.
Yeah,
We are struggling to pay our bills in 30 days. We are struggling.
but, and so that's part of what I was getting at, is that in talking to Jill, I think it takes a long time for the invoices to get to her and processed by her team, and so I think that there's some room for improvement there in terms of how long that process takes, so that it's not, the burden is not falling on us as a board of volunteers to have these meetings like this, and then also being, that burden being passed on to the public. I think that there are ways we can speed up and make that process that's happening behind the scenes a little bit more efficiently, so that bills can get paid in 30 days. I mean, I think we need to dive in deeper into like how long things are taking from step to step, from the invoice, from the provider to us, from, you know, the director that gets the invoice to the finance department. Once it's in the finance department, what needs to happen and how long is it taking, right? I think we need to do kind of take a detailed look at all those steps. And that was part of what we talked about during last year's budget season. We talked about potentially getting, and we put money in the budget to get an intern to try and have some time spent on building in efficiencies into these processes. I mean, the AP meeting takes 15 minutes. I think we need to be reliable for the public and have our meetings on the same day
So
every
then-
month.
So then we have 3 meetings. 1, 2, 3. Which I'm not a fan of.
I know when Kathy put the original schedule together.
Yeah.
And had the conversation with you.
Yeah.
She was at 32 to 34 meetings for the year,
And that,
without any committee meetings,
without any.
without budget meetings.
I
And
see,
without budget.
so it's not just a matter of struggling to pay the bills, it's also to decrease our meeting
Your
schedule
number
to
of meetings.
2 a month instead of 3 a month.
For AC in our regular meeting. That's with no other meetings. Those are gonna,
That's with no town hall
I,
committee,
and I will, let
subcommittee,
Yeah.
me also qualify this, that the system we have for AP with you guys having a formal meeting to discuss and approve the accounts payable is, as much as it's a time burden for you and it's another meeting that I have to attend, it is working better than getting selectmen to sign off. Because Kathy and I were struggling, when we first started in the office, we were struggling to get selectmen to come in and sign off.
Mhm.
You know, Bob was usually really good about it, but then we would have to chase people down
Oh, right, yeah.
to get them to come in. So this system actually is more efficient from the perspective of getting the approval in a timely fashion.
From us, yeah, I can,
Yeah,
Which helps getting the checks out.
but an even more efficient process would be to get DocuSign and have us all be able to sign off on it electronically
well,
and
yeah.
not have to meet at all.
I'm-
Right, so like, I'm just trying to think, like, yes, we've made steps in making it more efficient, 100%. I'm just not convinced that this is the most efficient we can.
It probably is not.
It is, and you know, I think, you know, Rodney can share a little bit with you if you want to, but you know, he and I have met with the finance director
Mhm.
very recently. And we are working on some things to increase efficiencies in that department. And we've actually got our intern working on doing some research for us to increase efficiencies in that department.
Now, is there any reason we couldn't like have an AP report for a meeting on the first Tuesday of the month, right? Understanding that anything in that second week wouldn't get into that report, or are you saying because of the payroll, she doesn't have time to even get us a report that first week?
That's correct.
but it's been working this year though, so,
We've had 3 meetings a month, some of them.
yeah.
Rare.
But also, it seems like
You canceled some too.
it seems like our special meetings for AP have turned into like, we've had 3, 4, 5 agenda items on them as well. So,
It's an opportunity to add agenda items to it.
yes, so I feel like it's cut down, having additional meetings with more items has cut down the length of our once a month.
I would agree.
Correct.
Yeah, and I know I'm just looking at my calendar for December. We've got 3 scheduled for December, the first week, the third week, and then the last week, the one we just talked about. I don't know, I
So our
don't have a
options are
problem with.
limited at the moment. Once our system is improved, if we can pull that off, then it's a different story. So for now, we know we're gonna end up with building committee meetings and
Yeah,
finance.
mhm.
What I'm saying, when you're done?
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I mean, this is what we'll have set up, and I frankly, I'd like to have it like 6:30 instead of 6. 6 is tough. I mean,
I'm good with 6:30, yeah.
I don't know, but
Oh, 6:30?
I mean, it was fine with 6 for the really quick AP meetings where we're like
Right.
only
yeah,
there for 10
but the
minutes. And I
regular
can join.
meeting, but the problem is, we tend to have business meetings on the other time. That's why, I think our regular, our monthly meeting, 6:30, a piece. We can do 6, if that's comfortable with the board, gotta be able to fit into our work and everything else. Does that make sense to everybody here?
The time, I defer to the people who have the full schedule during the day, because I can make
Right,
whatever time is convenient for everybody. It should be a time where everybody can make
right.
it. But I think I agree with Amanda's point about if you're changing the monthly meeting, there are some people who just always say, oh, the selectmen's meeting, that's the first Tuesday of the month. And they're like these people here tonight, I'm not sure they would have known if we start switching the schedule. I don't know how many of them would have realized that we are changing the monthly meeting date. So I guess I would like to leave the monthly meeting date, and I don't have a problem with the 3 meetings a month. I know it sounds, and because we always do seem to make an effort to try to consolidate the items that go on the agendas.
Bob? No comment?
No, I'm just,
Mather? Any comments?
No, I'm kind of
It's your world,
ambivalent about it. I see both arguments. I do like the idea of having a consistent date for a regular meeting, just to Amanda's point of, transparency to the general public. I just know myself, even just knowing, each month that certain meetings are at certain times on certain days. I get that. But I also get, 32, 34 meetings a year gets to be a lot. I don't know. I don't really feel strongly enough either way to really weigh in on it, I guess.
What's the total meeting count between what the schedule we've kept this year versus the schedule that this new change would result in?
How many meetings have we had this year?
Well, yeah, how many fewer would this new proposal mean?
And
I'm saying goodbye.
we don't wanna put you to sleep here.
Before I go, I wanna say I thank each of you for your very substantial service.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very well.
Good evening.
I can't believe you
Good
don't
night.
want to sit to find out what the outcome was.
And with that, Richard's going home.
Yes.
Good night.
Bye.
Did your count include, this doesn't include budget, no?
It doesn't include any
No.
budget or committee meetings.
So you can get into 60 year report.
Thank you for staying, Kathy. You add a lot to this discussion.
Just for historical purposes, a number of years ago, the board met twice monthly, first and third Tuesday. And it's split the agenda up, so, but we found that the second one, you have such a minimal agenda, it really didn't pay. So that's why I went with the one. But back then, the AP wasn't part of the packet. You went in, you looked at it, you signed off on it.
I recall my last service on the board, I was handed 20 pages
Right.
and asked to sign it before the meeting started. And that was unreasonable because I never had time to review it and
Right.
we never talked about it as a board.
Yeah.
So this is
Oh.
being able to have this
Yeah.
discussion, I think is so helpful and having the time to look at it.
No, you're right. And I'm saying this is historically why,
That's what I got.
we didn't have that.
Yeah.
Doing it. So it's
So
good
this
to
is-
have.
It is, it's a good
Oh,
step.
for last year, is that what you got?
I got like
So-
31 or 32, but.
For 20, for what we just did already, just,
No, through the end of the year,
so 2024. This year's,
but there's some special meetings that I might have miscounted as.
but I mean, the ones you just counted were 2024.
Correct.
Okay, and you think roughly maybe 31?
It'd be fair to-
4-1,
3-1.
3-1. That's fine, okay.
Skip like special meetings that were not a.
Yeah, I'd like to just compare this proposed schedule, the regular with,
Oh, it'd be 24. 20.
29.
Thirty-one total minus the two.
Oh, I forgot the one on the bottom.
27?
30, yeah.
That was
No, 3 months with 3, right? So it's 3 times 12 is 24.
Yeah, that's one I didn't miss. Yeah, I got minus 29, got that bottom.
Get 32.
Okay, so yeah. so we got the
32.
same.
That's 32, that's BOS and AP only. That
Correct,
doesn't
that's what I did.
include
Yeah.
Budget meetings or anything.
Right.
That's 2024 or?
Yeah.
Okay, and then this proposal
It's
is,
26, so it's only 5 less meetings, 6 less meetings.
Mm-hmm. 18, 26, 27. There's one, single one in January.
so it's five fewer.
I mean, we can wait until the AP meeting later this month and see what Tim and Pam think. That'll still give us our 30 days prior to the
So we're
beginning
gonna-
of the year.
We're gonna table this for now? Can,
Yeah, we
is
don't
that
have to
the,
have
is
this
that the thought right now?
I think it would be a good idea.
This December meeting?
You could do December meeting.
Yeah.
That's the
So-
latest you can do.
Right.
Can you give us the other copy that you had when you get a chance? Of the, every 2 weeks? with the-
Yep.
The original one we worked on?
Okay.
And then change the dates. For ha-has for now, 6:30 on the regular and 6 on the APs?
Yep.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. You can
Yes.
see it. Thank
So
you.
we're gonna table this until. Do I have to make a motion? for
I'll
that?
make a motion to table this item until the December 3rd meeting.
Yeah, second that.
All in favor? Aye. Aye, that's a 5. Yes, and 2 absent. Next, APs.
I'm sorry,
Uh,
who seconded that motion?
Bob Mora.
Bob Moore.
Oh,
Yeah.
Maura. Okay, thank you.
AP and budget transfers. Consider an act.
Trying to get to the last page.
It's a, that was 110,000.
102. Move the adoption of the AP report for a total of $102,131.93.
I'll second, that's Amanda.
Is there any discussion on it? When?
Yeah, page 14 and 15, I'm trying to get a handle on the difference between the town center SSDS preliminary design, what project that is versus the community connectivity grant study and design, which I think is the one right along Bolton Center Road versus the Lotsip sidewalk design. So Yes, so Jim,
So let's start with the top one,
Yep.
the community connectivity grant is the trail that we're just about finishing up.
okay, that's the one from the firehouse to,
Here.
to this parking lot, okay, yep.
Okay, and then what was the next one? You wanted the
Yeah,
FFTS?
yes, uh-huh,
That is the community septic system that
oh,
we are working on the final design for, so we can go out to bid.
oh, okay, yep.
Next one you wanted to talk
Oh,
about?
on the next page is the load slip sidewalk.
And that is the plan that you and I looked at with the group for the trail that goes from here to the Heritage Farm.
Okay.
So that I can tell you is at Prague, and we have a meeting set up with Prague for December 4th to discuss their review. And the drawings are already at the 80% mark just by adding some layers. So as long as they don't have any significant comments, we should be getting the 80% drawings to them very shortly thereafter.
Okay. Good, thank you.
Can I follow up on those questions? Cause Rob reviews it because they oversee the load zip grant.
Oh, yeah, they oversee it for Connecticut DOT.
And then in terms of the connectivity grant, why is the engineering company still doing anything for that? Like, I thought we were just doing some last minute cleanup.
So he was consulted on a couple of things that we are trying to finish up.
Okay.
And they're helping us coordinate with the mapping, and because they generated the mapping for this, so they're helping us coordinating the mapping with the line striping company that has to come in and do some line
Okay.
striping. So there's no real engineering work that's happening.
Okay.
It's really assistance with coordination and consultation with our highway foreman as he finishes up the last bits.
Where's the line striping gonna be?
So there are stop bars that have to be put in. There's a couple of crosswalks that have to be put in.
I'm trying, we're still talking about this one?
The connectivity,
Mhm.
yep.
So
Yeah.
where did the stop bars and the crosswalks have to be put in?
So there's a quad, I'm doing this from memory,
Yep.
so it's probably not gonna be 100% correct. But there is, I think there was a change to a stop bar over here where it lies at this intersection. There's a crosswalk across the town hall driveway.
Really?
Yep.
But I thought that trail is connecting with the one that goes to the farm right on that side of
It
the
is,
driveway.
but you're also supposed to be able to go over to Hebron Road and go down Hebron Road to get to Loomis, to get to the school that way.
Let me see.
And there's a crosswalk that's gotta go in at that intersection.
Down at Loomis
The
and,
striping.
Yep,
Loomis and Hebron
Yep.
Road.
And I'm
Okay.
assuming Old Bolton Road, right?
Yeah, that one.
Behind the
you need there.
library, in front of the
Right,
library.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
And then,
There's two of them there, then
Street.
one crossing
Yeah.
again, Toomey Lane.
right.
Okay, yep.
and the other thing I could share with you as far as that is concerned, which is gonna make a lot of people very happy, is that if we have enough money, we've done a lot of the connectivity grant work ourselves. And if we have enough money left in the connectivity grant fund after we complete the work, the state has given us written permission to reallocate some funding from that to put a beacon over on the Steeles Crossing roadway for that.
Push button.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
okay,
Oh, like a
okay,
pedestrian
activated by,
crossing.
Yep.
okay, good, yep.
That's really good.
That, I thought those are super expensive, like $20,000. You
They're
think
not-
there's gonna
they're-
be that much
yeah,
left over?
Right now, it's looking positive.
Oh, good, okay. All right, yeah, thank you.
We have to make sure that the solar will work there.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's part of, that's part of the thing that, Joe helps us coordinate. Is that he can actually reach out to the company and that sells them, and they can actually use GPS coordinates to determine whether or not the solar will work in those locations.
Okay. Okay.
Any other comments?
I have one
Yes.
question.
Mather?
On page 11, there's a refund for grade 7th and 8th boys basketball for $140. And then again, on page 15, there's a refund for grade 7th and 8th boys basketball for the same amount. Is that
Yeah, it
because
says-
those
it
two
says-
people got half of it back or something?
says the program was canceled.
Right, but it's, this person, Nicholas Rosino, is getting 140 back because it was canceled on page 15, and on page 11, Jamie Mosier is getting $140 back because it was seemingly the same program was canceled. Is that
Maybe
a,
somebody had, I don't know for sure, but
maybe they
somebody
shared
had-
the cost or something?
Or somebody had 2 children and somebody had 1 child.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that was.
Oh, I see.
140.
Yeah, they're both 140.
Two different kids must have signed up and.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Okay, any other questions?
Jim, are you gonna be reporting on the tie and bond abatement sampling cost, or that's the status of that? Cause
Yeah,
there is
sure, we
a
can-
cost
we
for it
can
in
talk-
here,
we
but
can
we can
talk
talk about it later if you're gonna do it in your report.
I don't think we have a report on the, but we can talk about it now.
Okay,
So they've done the testing. And that's what we're paying for right now,
okay.
is for the testing. I communicated with them today. And they're supposed to have the balance of the plan information to me by the end of the week. We are currently focused, hyper focused on getting our part of the bid documents together. And it's my goal to be out to bid for that project next week.
This is for the, just the abatement?
No,
No,
so,
or you-
so one of the things that we've learned is that the brick on the front and back of the building are laden with PCB contamination.
Ugh.
So the building has to be torn down and abated at the same time.
So it's more expensive to get rid
Some
of.
of the abatement can happen, prior, like the asbestos.
Right.
But for the most part, the building has to come down and be abated simultaneously.
Is that going to, so this cost was just for the testing?
That's for the testing.
Okay, so, and then is that going to increase the cost of the demolition because of the dual aspect of it?
More than likely.
Okay, and how, so the bids then that you're talking about, is that gonna be the bid for the demolition?
Mhm.
And
Be for the
demolition
demolition
slash
and abatement.
Everything.
Yep,
Okay,
We're
'cause
gonna-
we need to have the contract signed by December 31.
correct.
And-
That's why I want to get this out to bid next week.
And that company, sorry, I don't have it right in front of me.
Time bond.
They are committed to getting their language for the bid to you in time to
He,
get it
he
out.
thought he could have it by the end of this week,
Okay.
and he's actually working on trying to get me some information that I need to move our part of it
Okay.
forward a little more tomorrow. So right now, if they keep their schedule, we're in good shape.
Okay,
But they're actually creating the abatement plan. Cause that's their specialty.
Are they allowed to, are they also a remediator? Are they allowed to?
They're not.
So they won't be, there's no conflict of interest
No
with them
conflict of
applying to the, bid. Okay.
All right. Any other questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That's 5 yes, 2 absent. Then we'll move on to budget transfers. Are there any budget?
I don't think there are any.
Okay, then we're gonna move on to review the bid ordinance changes. That was something that
Which have not been reviewed by the town attorney yet.
oh, okay.
I wanted to make sure you were clear on that. He's been in transition from one part of the country to the other. I expect a response from him before your next meeting,
Oh, it doesn't say that.
but I wanted you guys to get a first look at it,
Okay.
to see if you had any reactions that we should make adjustments to.
My, go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
this is in response to the auditor's report, right?
This is so that we can
Purchase.
address some of the issues that we've had,
Mhm.
both with the driveway ordinance and the bid ordinance.
What were the issues that the auditor brought up?
Our bid ordinance does not specifically state that we can purchase things off of the state bid list
Oh,
or from buying consortiums, and those things have already gone out to bid. In most circumstances, that is recognized. And the language that's been changed in this specifically allows us to purchase off the state bid, list or from approved buying consortiums without having to take it out to bid.
Mhm. My, first impression is that 250 is too high, 250,000. It just seems like, we should. That we should have sealed bids at a lower price, and I don't really have a good feeling for what that should be.
So can I tell you why I put that number in there?
Sure.
Okay, I was gonna say,
The cost of a plow truck.
one truck,
That's why I picked that number.
One truck could be more than 250,000, you're saying?
no,
Or-
be in that
or-
250 range.
Okay, so, but what's wrong with getting sealed bids for those?
Well, because the state bid they have a broader, bid process, it's statewide, and we have seen, quite honestly, that we haven't done any better, than the state bids on these things.
But that's it's an arbitrary number, but that is why I picked that number.
Mhm.
And I assumed that it would garner some discussion.
Would it make sense to put a caveat in or something that specifies a difference for equipment versus services?
I mean, I suppose when that could be brought up when you talk to.
You don't have to decide this tonight. I really
Yeah.
wanted you all to take a look at it and begin to react to it.
Mhm.
So that, cause I really would like to be able to get this,
Mhm.
to a public hearing at some point in the not too distant future. And be able to make changes.
My first reaction was that it would make sense to have this exception under each respective section, so like add this exception under section 3 and add this exception under section 2. As opposed to at the end. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense to people, like.
That
It just was a little bit more confusing having it as its own section at the end, but that was just me.
You mean that the town should be able to be bid through the state bid list for all of these?
Yeah, like
In-
at
in
the
all
very
these
end of,
sections.
at the end of section 2, except where the bid comes from XYZ, blah, 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 and same with under section 3, I don't know.
I did it that way just because it would make it longer,
True, a little bit, yeah.
just
true
for,
story.
just to be concise.
I'm just thinking in terms of like the common person reading this and understanding it.
Mhm.
To me, it makes sense to put it the other way around, but I see where you're coming from.
Well, I think it'll be good to hear what our town attorney has to say.
Yeah, plus gives us a little time to
To think about it.
think about it,
Yeah,
too,
yep.
to give any comments.
And one of the things I will say, with regard to, Mr. Anderson's comment is I think there are reasons to not have the driveway ordinance under zoning because it is more than just math and technicalities. There are sight lines that have to be considered. And is the zoning enforcement officer gonna know what the base of the driveway is supposed to look like and so on and so forth? I think the highway foreman and or the town engineer, when necessary, are the most qualified individuals to be looking at the driveway. And I believe that by putting this in the lap of town employees rather than the Board of Selectmen, somebody has the ability to come to the Board of Selectmen and appeal a decision
Right.
of an employee. So I think the process that Mr. Anderson is hoping for in his comment is still there. And we could actually spell that out in the ordinance.
In fact, that probably would be a good idea, and everybody could understand that. If you wish to appeal it, the city could be appealed through the Board of Selectmen.
Right.
Whatever the wording you would use. Yeah, because
Yeah, are we talking about that now? Are we talking about the driveway? ordinance?
Yeah, it's kind of shuffled over.
Okay.
Or were you
I'm
still?
sorry.
Yeah, I thought we were done with the other one, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I really do think this I think has not been reviewed by our town attorney either.
It has not.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, I think it's really gotta be cleaned up.
But
you know, I just don't think if we, the first line says the selectmen or their designee, and then at the end it says this is who the designee is. So I think if we really want to put the power in somebody else, we should just say that. Say, you know, this person or this person is the entity that has the ability to grant driveway permits. Because for one thing, somebody applying for a driveway permit, under this, how are they gonna know who to go to? Because it says,
Designate.
but it says
One of
combination
three
of there,
people.
of like, oh, does that mean I go to the highway person and the town administrator, or do I go to the highway foreman? Or the town engineer, you know, I mean, it's just, I think we've got to specify.
So I
who
will
people
say,
Have to apply.
And I think that's a good comment, but I will say that nobody has ever had a problem applying for a driveway permit. Where they go has never been a question. All permits go through the land use office. So that's never been a question.
Okay.
I see your point with, you know, you just eliminate the designee part and just put in, but the combination is important. And here's a for instance, right? We have a driveway that came to us over on Shoddy Mill Road, and it's 170 feet from the corner. Sightlines are required to be 200 feet. I wouldn't know that as the town administrator, so, you know, this also went to the town engineer for review. That's why it says combination thereof,
Mhm.
is because it may require more than one person looking at it to make a good decision,
Mhm.
because it's, at the end of the day, it's about safety.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I can
So-
see that one person should be, any of these three people should be able to walk and use their own skill set, but I think there should be one designee who has the authority to grant the driveway permit.
So would you wanna just, in between the which and driveways, just add through the land use department?
Well,
So
who do people apply to? Like, who exactly do they go, if they walk in and say, who do I apply to a driveway permit from? Who
Yeah.
who
Go
is that?
home and get on your computer and do it
Yes,
online.
true.
And it, okay, so it just goes to the land
Land
use
use.
office.
Yeah.
It's,
And
it's-
and the problem with
Okay.
having one person designated to issue the permit is a problem. Because what happens for that 6 months when we don't have a highway foreman?
So who has, under this scenario, who has the authority, the final authority to say yes on your driveway permit or no?
Legally, I don't know because I'm not an attorney. My vision was that any one or any combination of those three individuals could. So here we had a problem with a driveway that came in while we were without a highway foreman, who had always been the person reviewing and approving these things on behalf of the Board of Selectmen.
Mhm.
So who was technically qualified and able to review it? There was nobody in this office that had more qualifications than I did. So I reviewed a driveway application and denied it. It came to you for appeal because the ordinance doesn't say that I had the ability to approve. Which is why we're looking at making changes to this ordinance. So in my mind, it would have been any one of these individuals. So it would be either the town administrator or highway foreman who may consult the town engineer.
We can
When
just make it
necessary.
hierarchical, right? We can say. The designee shall be the highway foreman or the town administrator in their absence, or the town engineer in their absence. And in that way. People know. I mean,
Yeah, it would be good to get the town attorney's opinion on how to make the language clearer.
The concept is good, you just gotta get the wording.
Yeah,
I'm not legal, legally.
so I just think it needs, with his review, maybe he'll have some suggestions on that,
Oh, I'm sure.
how to make it a little clearer.
any other questions, comments on that?
I mean, the other thing we might just wanna do, right, and I don't know the benefits or not of this, but I think like. You've got the ordinance, right, which is one piece, which it says, we may select a designee. And then the second part is that other paragraph, like the last sentence, right, I think that can be pulled out into a second paragraph. And something like, as of XYZ date, the approved designees are. And that part can then just be changed in the future if we ever want to amend it, whereas the rest of it doesn't have, like, I don't know, pulling it out as a separate piece to make it clear that this is really why we changed this. Right, it's always said designee, but as of the
No,
date,
that's new.
oh, I thought,
That's new. It always said Board of Selectmen.
oh, so we were just choosing.
Designee is new.
Oh, it
That's a
said
new
somewhere
word.
else in the charter. that we
charter,
could
it allows
designate
you to
duties
designate,
To other
right.
people, right, okay, all right, well,
The ordinance never did. That's a new word.
got it. Never mind.
All right,
But I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
so before we move on to the minutes, I did sign an emergency burn permit today. So, we're actually-
Emergency declaration against open burning.
Oh, okay, I was like, you authorized.
Oh,
me
Yeah, I was
to burn?
wondering, yeah, why are you doing that? Okay,
A do not burn,
I do not burn.
got it.
and that was announced to the public?
We
still
haven't
now?
gotten that far yet.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
I mean, it already says on the sign, do not burn anything
What's,
outside.
what's that?
It's statewide.
Fire,
Well,
and there's been
But
announcements.
it isn't, Bob. That's the
Oh,
problem.
that, you're right.
Is the
Each town
governor-
has to
The
adopt.
governor only did it for state properties. So
Right,
in order to
right.
make it
Right,
legal and binding, we had to declare a state of an emergency regarding the heightened fire awareness and actually institute the burn ban.
Oh, well, I've been telling people it's illegal.
So have we,
fine, we're getting there. It's just,
which is,
Close enough.
I just figured I'd.
we're catching the cart up to the horse.
Just figured I'd let you guys know.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Now we're looking for the minutes of September 24th.
yes, I move the adoption of the minutes of the minutes for
Well,
the.
we already voted on the minutes from September 24th and the minutes from October 1st at our last meeting.
Well, I thought so too, but then if you.
I did look at the minutes.
But then look back
I
and you
did.
saw that, remember Pam
Eight.
withdrew?
On the last one, that was on the
Only one?
October 8th.
That's the only one?
Yes, we
So-
voted on the other.
So A and B are good?
A and B are good.
Can I say something about B?
Sure.
Or is it too late?
No.
No,
October 1st, no, good.
My name is not on there and I was at that meeting as being present.
Okay.
So since we already approved it, how do we? Because we already voted to approve those minutes.
It goes in today's minutes.
Oh,
That, the
So we just
correction
make an
goes in
amendment.
today's
It'll
minutes.
be down.
Because we don't actually go back and change the minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we amend the minutes from
October 1st.
October 1st to include Mather Clark as a present member.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bob, yes. 2 absent. Now, October 8th was the one you were in Boston.
Yes, and I think what we decided is that my name was invoked by Ross, which is why it was in the minutes, even though I wasn't
Right.
there.
right.
Okay, yeah.
Move the adoption of the October 8th meeting. As presented.
I'll second for the sake of discussion.
Any discussion?
Yes, because I remember making this comment before, so I don't know whether we acted on these minutes or not, but down in number 7. It states that I made a motion to not exceed the amount of money in capital budget, but I didn't make that motion and it wouldn't have been appropriate because there was already a motion on the table. So you see that Pam made a motion, Bob seconded it. Then Jim had some discussion, but it says I made a motion, so. So that whole line should just come out, and I'm pretty sure that somewhere else, in maybe successive minutes, it says that line should come out. So I have this feeling that we already acted on these minutes too.
Well, we did, but we stopped.
We talked about it, but then
discussed
we,
These were the ones where we said, hold
Yeah,
up and
yeah.
said, let's, okay,
Right.
so I would like to just ask for that line in paragraph 7. The line,
Take
that-
G out.
Well, you gotta take the R4 and your R2.
the first G, Marion, that says make motion to not
Yeah, right.
exceed, that one should come out,
Right.
And the R4 that seconded it.
yeah.
Yeah. right? Yes.
Yes.
I had 2 grammatical, because I wasn't there, but I read them to see what happened. So on page 2, it was Jim's third comment. The water comes off the fields of High Ridge Farm subdivision from the cul-de-sac at Valley Drive. I think it's supposed to say Valerie Drive.
Valerie.
And then further down the page, Rodney's second to last comment, taking a consensus vote on which contract we should use, etc. In favor, say aye. It should be AYE, not I as in I, the person.
Got it?
No, I is the letter I.
That was it.
And also I was left off again.
Oh, Mather. Oh.
You have to speak up more. Sorry.
That's funny.
I was there.
You were here?
I was there for this meeting, but I'm not listed as being present.
Right,
Okay.
so amend my motions to make that correction, add another, name to it.
Okay.
And
Do we,
change the word, I mean, the letter I, to I, as in vote I. And
And Valerie.
7, and let's see, strike 7G and 7R.
Not really G and R, but.
it's close
And
enough.
I think that's it.
Change Valerie to Valerie.
Valerie Drive.
Valerie Drive too. I'm sorry.
All right.
I'll second.
All
Amanda.
in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. That's 5, yes, you absent. 17.
That's right.
Is this a 3-board
That was
meeting?
the 3 board.
Marvelous.
Can I make a motion if I plan to abstain?
Yeah, I think
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the 3-board meeting from October 17th.
I'll second.
Second motion.
Mather Clark seconded it. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I believe, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm like 99% sure Tim Sadler was not at that meeting. I actually talked to him today about it. He was asking me about the meeting because he wasn't there,
So
but his
Tim
name is
Sadler
Tim
is
Sadler.
listed. He was actually absent,
I think that's accurate.
And me too, under both
and
the boss and finance.
Amanda Gordon was absent on both.
And was Susan Pike there? Because I thought she resigned from the Board of Ed.
No, she was not there.
She was not there.
Was she here?
But is she listed?
Yes, under Board of Ed.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I
right.
also believe that Diana Pagano was not there either.
That's right. No, she was not there either. Right.
I think somebody just pulled it up.
Put all the members in
And,
here.
and actually Ben Davies was not there either.
Oh,
No, you're right.
Oh,
Andrew was here,
Chris.
Chris
Ashley,
was here,
Rio.
yeah, Rhea, Ashley,
Ashley.
Bob Monroe was not there.
And Sue Pike wasn't there.
and I'm assuming well, no, I didn't. Was Chris Connolly there?
No,
Chris Donnelly was
No.
not.
He's
No.
never really there. Listen to stuff.
Robert Monroe. So on the Board of Selectmen, Tim Sadler, Amanda Gordon were not there. Finance Committee, Robert Monroe, Amanda Gordon, Chris Connolly were not here. Board of Ed, Diana Pagano, Ben Davies, and Sue Pike were not here.
And then the only other change I have is on page 2 for A. I wasn't there, but I'm making an assumption that the language should say the Board of Education has a return of 825,199 less the 350,000, not less than the 300. So just get rid of the word than.
It's then and D, so it's just an extra,
Yeah, less the
yeah, less
350.
350.
Yeah.
There's an extra word in it.
That changes the whole meeting.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Yes.
Like, the math doesn't add up.
Right.
Math isn't mathing.
Is there any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's
I'm
four,
abstaining.
4 yes. Amanda Gordon is abstaining and 2 absent. Now, for the October 22nd special meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the October 22nd meeting minutes as presented.
I do too. I don't wanna be on that committee anymore.
Sorry, we kept it open.
I'll
You don't have
second the motion.
Is there any discussion on the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye,
I'll
that's,
I'll abstain because I wasn't there.
so that's 4 yes. Mather Clark is abstaining and 2 absent. And I think that brings us to the end.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
So our next meeting is November 19th at 6 P.M.
Yep.
Oh, they listed all the upcoming events.
Yeah,
You missed it.
Oh, seconded,
Yeah, I make a motion to adjourn.
such reading.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. That's 5 yes, 2 absent. Thank you.